So, what's the real secret to a marriage that doesn't just survive, but actually thrives? Today, we're jumping into a super practical guide that breaks down all the key ingredients for building a stronger, more balanced partnership. We're going to cover how to keep that romance alive, how to communicate like a real team, and how to build a foundation that truly lasts, all while staying true to who you are. Let's get into it.
Right from the get-go, let's just toss out that old-fashioned idea of self-sacrifice. The source material kicks off with this really powerful theme. A strong partnership is all about a dynamic dance of balance. The core idea here isn't about giving up yourself for someone else. No, it's about learning how to care deeply for your spouse while also fiercely protecting and nurturing your own identity. It's not one or the other, it's got to be both.
And that brings us to this foundational idea, a partnership of balance. This is pretty much the bedrock of everything else we're going to talk about. So, what does that actually look like in day-to-day life? Let's break it down.
This really shows you the two sides of that coin perfectly. On one hand, yeah, you're actively caring for your partner. You're tuned into their needs. You're giving them that unwavering support. You're showing affection. But, and this is just as critical, on the other side, you have to care for yourself. That means holding on to your identity outside of the relationship, chasing your own happiness, and honoring your own needs. The message is clear. You have to water both plants for the whole garden to flourish.
Now, this whole idea of balance, it doesn't just stop with emotional needs. It stretches into every single part of a relationship, and that, of course, includes the physical side. So let's shift gears and see what the source suggests for rekindling that all-important romance, especially when life gets crazy busy.
What I love here is how practical and doable this advice is. It's all about small, consistent actions. You've got the simple act of a daily kiss, something that constantly reinforces your connection. Then there's the idea of actually scheduling date nights. It's about being intentional. It's about creating a dedicated space for connection, both in your home, like making your bedroom a sanctuary, and on your calendar, by carving out and protecting that time together.
And hey, this isn't just some nice-sounding idea. There's actually data on this. A poll of over 1,100 readers found that a huge 63% of people believe that simple acts of affection, like kissing and cuddling, directly improve intimacy. So if you ever doubt it, just remember, the little things, they often make the biggest difference.
But look, a great marriage isn't just built on romance. It's also about having a best friend that you know you can count on no matter what. And that's exactly what our next section is all about, building that deep, lasting companionship.
So how do you actually grow that friendship? Well, the guide suggests getting back to the basics. Talk openly, like you would with your best friend. But it's also about creating new memories together. Go on adventures. It doesn't have to be some epic trip. It could be a challenging hike, exploring a new part of town, or even just trying a new recipe at home. These shared experiences become the glue that holds you together. And of course, it's about being each other's rock and tackling life's stresses as a team, not as two people on opposite sides.
This leads us perfectly into our next topic, communication. Because without it, even the strongest friendships can start to fall apart. The source really hammers this point home. How you talk to each other is every bit as important as what you talk about. In fact, it might be everything.
Before a disagreement even gets off the ground, the article suggests you pause and ask yourself this one simple but really powerful question. This is all about picking your battles. Is this issue really worth the emotional energy? Or is it something you can let go of to keep the peace and focus on what actually matters?
And for those times when you absolutely do need to discuss something tough, this right here, this is a total game changer. Instead of hitting them with a blaming statement like, "You always ignore me," which, let's be honest, immediately puts them on the defensive, the guide says to reframe it as an I statement. I feel ignored when... Can you feel the difference? The first one is an attack. The second is an invitation to have a real conversation. It's about expressing how you feel without pointing a finger.
So what are the ground rules for navigating those tricky conversations? First, listen to actually understand where they're coming from, not just to reload for your next comeback. Be respectful, even when you're seeing red. You have to remember, the goal here isn't to win the argument, it's to find a solution, together. And maybe the toughest one of all, be humble enough to admit when you're wrong.
But here's the thing. Even with the best communication skills in the world, a partnership can't really thrive if the people in it are running on empty. And that brings us to our final and maybe the most crucial section of all. After all this talk about the we, the source brings it all back home, to the me. The foundation of a strong marriage is, well, it's you.
This question just cuts right to the heart of it, doesn't it? It's such a simple, profound truth that we forget all the time. You just can't pour from an empty cup. Your ability to show up for your partner, to be present, loving, and supportive is directly tied to your own happiness and well-being.
So let's be crystal clear on this. The main takeaway here is that taking time for yourself, whether it's a hobby, seeing your friends, or just taking an hour to sit in quiet, it's not selfish. It's essential maintenance. It's how you recharge so you can show up as the best, most vibrant version of yourself for your partner and for your marriage.
So I'm going to leave you with this one thought to take with you. Based on everything we've just talked about, what is one small thing you can do for yourself this week that will, in turn, make your partnership stronger? It's a powerful way to think about it, reframing self-care as an act of love for both you and your spouse. Definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.